And we are still waiting a short while to get some more people to join this session. Thank you everyone who's going to join. This is going to be broadcast live on our Facebook page, LinkedIn, and YouTube channel.
Okay, so welcome everybody to this bilingual session from Perfectly Spoken in English and Spanish.
Bienvenidos a todos y todas a esta sesión bilingüe español e inglés de Perfectly Spoken.
And I'm David de Jager, I'm Managing Director of Perfectly Spoken.
Y yo soy Xela Falgueras del equipo de atención al cliente de Perfectly Spoken. Y también codirectora.
Okay, and so today we are looking at the best way to learn English, which we consider to be an immersive, what it is and why it's important. And we also want to answer any questions you might have.
Para los que acabáis de uniros a esta sesión es una sesión bilingüe español-inglés de Perfectly Spoken. David de Jager es el director y yo soy Xela Falgueras del equipo de atención al cliente. En esta sesión vamos a abordar el tema de cómo se puede aprender inglés cuando todo está en inglés, qué es la inmersión y cuáles pueden ser las diferentes estrategias y metodologías para aprender inglés. Mi traducción tiene mucha interpretación. As you see, David, I'm adding quite a lot more. Good. So we have a couple of people. If you want to let us know where are you joining us from. Hello, Bruno Marroquino. Guten Tag.
Great, thank you. So what it is, and the immersive approach is basically when you learn everything in the target language. So in our case, you learn everything in English and you try and surround yourself with English. So that is our approach online. We do everything from the beginning in English.
Esta sesión es bilingüe, entonces para los que no sois hispanohablantes a lo mejor es un poco raro, pero en esta sesión vamos a hablar qué es el método inmersivo y cómo podemos aprender inglés en inglés cuando todo está en inglés y cuáles son sus ventajas.
So the advantages for us and the experts say of the immersive approach of doing everything in English without translations, it is that one, it helps you think in the language. Two, it helps improve your listening and speaking. Three, it gives you confidence, much more confidence. Four, it helps with your pronunciation because you are listening and you are practicing with native English speakers. And it also helps you expand and consolidate your vocabulary. 5 very powerful reasons.
Right, because I'm also checking who's joining and if we have any questions. So I am not going to be able to translate everything. So let's pick. First of all, anyone wanting to tell us where you're joining from, and if you speak more than one language, how did you learn those languages? And if you think immersion is the best approach, just chat or type your comments on the chat box, and we'll just read you and try to answer you. Si quieres escribir en español, ningún problema, puedes escribir en la cajetilla de los comentarios sobre tu experiencia aprendiendo idiomas. Hemos dicho que aprender con el método inmersivo se trata de pensar directamente en este idioma que estás aprendiendo y intentar traducir al mínimo, es decir, replicar un poco la experiencia que tienes cuando tú aprendes un idioma desde cero, cuando eres pequeño, por ejemplo. Vamos a ver una a una las razones que nos comentaba David de las ventajas del método inmersivo. So, David, if you could please repeat, just go to reason number one.
So, sure, it helps you think in the language. It helps you get used to thinking in the language instead of always translating. Now, translation is not necessarily bad. It can be useful. It can be a shortcut, and lots of people use it. But it is better if you can spend most of the time thinking and trying to think in English.
Vamos a ello. Se trata de que empieces a pensar en este idioma. Esto no quiere decir que cuando estás en un método inmersivo no necesites un diccionario o no quieras traducir o ver la traducción o entender un poco más o tener este apoyo con la traducción, pero se trata de cuando tú te pones a pensar para escribir, para hablar, para entender, que tu cerebro no haga todo el rato el trabajo de ir traduciendo, sino que empieces a pensar y a hablar en este idioma con los recursos que tienes sin tener que automáticamente, a lo mejor sí te encallas con una palabra y quieres saber cómo se decía, pero intentar pensar directamente. I would say, David, that thinking in the language is probably the first step, and that is difficult because sometimes my experience learning languages means that you are a bit crazy and you are somewhere thinking with yourself and trying to think in another language is like, am I
Yeah,
getting a bit?
yeah. Nobody said it was going to be easy, and it isn't easy. But the results are proven. The results are fantastic, and it helps you gain confidence. We all need to make mistakes when we learn a language, and then if you can do that, that will help you think in the language.
Sí, David dice un punto muy importante. Tenemos que aprender a hacer errores porque estos errores son los que después nos harán pensar y nos ayudarán a mejorar cuando pensemos en este idioma. No es fácil, pero ahora vamos a decir la verdad. David, most of our learners have been going to school and probably they have already been exposed to English in their primary or secondary school. So there is quite a lot of a base to get started there. Isn't that true?
I think, yeah, and I think that's really important, and we accept that. Is the immersive system good if you are a total beginner? It's probably a little too difficult to do, but as most of our students have, if you have a base, then it's a great way because you build and build and build the language.
Sí, David dice que, claro, si tienes ya una pequeña base, es más fácil empezar a construir. Si eres un beginner absoluto, el método inmersivo quizás sea un poco difícil, pero la mayoría de gente ha tenido alguna educación, entonces es un método quizá más rápido para progresar y para después llegar a niveles superiores.
A really important point about immersion is having authentic materials and teachers, expert teachers. Now, all our teachers are native teachers, but you want an expert teacher to help you. So you get used to great pronunciation, you get used to listening to authentic materials, to real life conversations. And that, of course, will help you build your confidence, build your language.
Sí, lo que David dice es que en verdad el método inmersivo tiene que ir de la mano de materiales auténticos, materiales que estén creados para que se aprenda en inglés de una forma gradual, pero que sean materiales ya pensados para esta metodología y que en el soporte de profesorado que te pueda ayudar con tu pronunciación, que te pueda ayudar a ir ampliando tu pensamiento en esta nueva lengua que estás aprendiendo. David, allow me to just go one step back, just say hello to people that are joining us. This is a bilingual Spanish-English session to understand how immersion works. But anyone joining the session today, please drop us your comments on how do you learn languages. If you think, is it difficult to start thinking in a language you are learning? Is it difficult to feel you are a child because maybe you are going to be an adult and then you speak like a 2-year-old baby because you don't have enough resources to build what you want to say.
And another point about the teachers and why we we talk a lot about our expert teachers. They are the heart of the learning experience. Not everybody can be a teacher. What you need to do, you need qualifications, experience, and our teachers know how to grade their language and teach at different levels. Because part of this whole process is that the language becomes more and more sophisticated the more advanced your learning is. And that's not an easy thing to do.
Sí, David está comentando que, claro, ser un buen profesor para poder aplicar este método no es fácil. Tienes que ser una persona que hayas tenido una preparación y una experiencia, porque, claro, lo importante es que cuando tú haces un método inmersivo, este profesor irá gradualmente incrementando la velocidad, la cantidad de estructuras gramaticales, la cantidad de vocabulario. Entonces, el profesor tiene que ser hábil para saber en qué nivel estás y para tu nivel adaptar el contenido para que tú puedas ir aprendiendo y entiendas lo que se te está diciendo. Entonces, esta graduación y la velocidad y que el profesor te vaya ayudando a progresar es crucial para aprender un idioma con el método inmersivo. We have here Sue Yadana. This is a very typical issue that you get stuck in upper intermediate and you would like to study Spanish. Is it possible? Are you stuck in English? What is your experience in English? Why do you feel you are stuck? Because David, I think people get stuck at B1, B2 and they feel they cannot progress and just somehow get it flow. They are still thinking too much about the mistakes. They are still very self-conscious. Why is this happening?
It is. I think so. I think so. It is so common, and it's. I have to say, it's about throwing yourself into the language. It's about practice, practice, practice. It's about not worrying if you make mistakes. Experiment. Yeah. Take any opportunity to learn and practice your English. Of course, we have lots of different ways you can practice with us online, but locally, is there any way you can practice with other people? Are there English classes around you? This is what you need to do, and always have some sort of regime every day, if possible, when you are dedicating 20 minutes to watching a film in English, reading a book in English, writing something in English, and eventually you will break through, but it's tough.
Long explanation. I'm not going to translate. I'm just going to open a new topic here. Is that to make your brain work in that language, you need to get exposed to that language. The best way to get exposed is live with people who speak that language, but sometimes this is not possible. So this is why David is saying, get into small routine, little chunks every day, maybe 20 minutes enough to get you exposed to the language, to read, to watch a film, to listen to podcasts, materials that are at your level that will give you that confidence and move on. Hi, Humberto
Yeah.
from Ecuador. Thank you for joining us. Humberto, gracias por estar aquí. Estamos hablando del método inmersivo, de cómo mejorar un idioma y aprender un idioma cuando todo está en aquel idioma y el papel tan importante que tiene un profesor que te ayude, que te guíe para que en cada nivel te vaya dando el contenido que tú puedas ir progresando. También hablamos de la importancia de que cada día tengas una pequeña rutina de unos 20-25 minutos. Si puedes tener más tiempo, pues mucho mejor, pero para exponerte a este idioma, leyendo, viendo películas, escuchando podcasts, haciendo pequeñas actividades que te hagan que tu cerebro cada día piense un rato en este idioma en vez de traducir. También hemos dicho al principio que traducir no está mal. Lo que pasa es que si estás constantemente traduciendo, tu cerebro se bloquea todavía más. Entonces es mejor pensar directamente en un idioma, aunque sea con pocos recursos, y a partir de ahí ir avanzando.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, again, important point about translating. If you do translate, it can help you understand the language, but then it will impede, it will stop your communication. I have had so many students in the past who have translated literally from one language to another, and it just doesn't work, you know. So what you have to do is really, change your mindset and think, yeah. And also, if you do that, then your pronunciation can be terrible because what you're doing is you're translating the words from the page as well, rather than listening to them and copying how a native speaker works.
Sí, lo que David está diciendo es que, claro, hay distintos niveles de traducción. Una cosa es que tú consultes una información para ver cómo se dice aquella frase, para entender aquella palabra, y la otra es que intentes traducir literalmente cada palabra que estás diciendo. Esto no solo te bloquea en la fluidez de tu idioma, sino que incluso puede perjudicar tu pronunciación, porque estás pensando más en cómo se dice aquello que no en intentar replicar una persona nativa en unas circunstancias nativas y coger el ritmo del idioma. Gracias a ti, Humberto. Estamos hablando de lo que es la inmersión y we would like to hear from you. Sue was saying that she's stuck at upper intermediate. She would like to learn Spanish. Probably you speak your native language is another one. How do you start learning other languages? Because, David, some people are extremely scared at grammar, whereas other people love grammar. Some people think, oh, grammar makes me feel safe and sure, but then maybe I have the problem I cannot speak. Whereas maybe other people is like, I want to hear and learn by listening, and I don't care that much about grammar. What are your thoughts? What is your experience in that sense? Grammar, listening?
I think that, again, I think everything is valid and everything is useful. And of course, you need the grammar. You need to understand the grammatical structure of the language. As your English or any language develops, then you need to be able to make links between things. So you need a good basis in grammar. But at the beginning, or low levels, definitely it's more about communication, and you decide. And instead of thinking, oh my gosh, what's the past tense of this, if I get it wrong, or is everybody going to know, think it doesn't matter. Communicate. Do we understand what you are saying in English? If so, congratulations. And that's a big step forward.
David,
absolutely,
toda la razón.
Without thinking in your own language. If you can do that, yes.
Sí, y muy importante lo que estás comentando, David. No tener tanto miedo a los errores. En muchos casos lo que importa es la comunicación. Estamos transmitiendo el mensaje que queremos transmitir, más o menos. Por supuesto, cuanto más avanzado sea tu nivel de idioma, mejor podrás definir y afinar en tu mensaje, pero estás siendo capaz de comunicarte y no pensar tanto en me estoy equivocando gramaticalmente, porque equivocándose también uno avanza. Let's talk about another area that many language learners are concerned, and this is about the pronunciation. Everybody would like to sound as a native speaker, obviating that many native speakers have very different accents, but everybody wants the perfect accent. How important is that when your experience, you've been living in different countries, you've been having contact with many people speaking in English, how crucial it is that you have a perfect accent?
I think this goes to the same point I made before. It's about communication. And provided you have effective communication, if you have an accent, it can be really charming, actually, and different. We don't all need to speak exactly the same. Of course, I think it's important at the beginning and while you're learning to listen to native speakers or speakers of English with an accent, because that will help your own pronunciation. I think for many and you will know, Xela, there are certain, for example, for Spanish speakers, there are always going to be certain difficulties. And normally you will hear if a Spanish person is speaking English. And that's still, it can be lovely, charming, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I hope everybody understands what David is saying. In fact, Stephanie also says normally that she loves when people have a bit of an accent. Sometimes one thing is to have a bit of an accent, and the other is your accent is so strong that it may really make the communication difficult. However,
Yes.
in English, at least, probably 80% of the people who speak English speak with non native English. So, in the end, there is like this international
That's,
English that may be like the language of no one or everyone.
that's a very good point. Why are you learning English? The reality is that most people who learn English will not be speaking English with native speakers. They will be speaking English with another non-native English speaker. So it's the language of communication. So as long as you understand each other, that's perfect.
Exactly. So, just to recap a bit, David, if you can say like the initial five advantages of learning with the immersive approach, and then for
Yeah.
those of you who are here, let's compare if perfectly spoken is helping in these aspects and how we do it. And then we have a nice surprise for you all. So please stay until the end of this session. We have a coupon.
So yes, why immersion? Well, because it helps you. It helps you think in the language, and if you can think in the language, that will also help with your listening and your speaking. It will help give you confidence, improve your confidence because you won't be afraid of making mistakes. It will help with your pronunciation. It will help you when you are listening and reading authentic materials. And importantly, it will also help you consolidate and expand your vocabulary. If you are translating all the time, then those words are not assimilated in here. So, those are really important reasons why immersion is important and why it perfectly spoken is our approach.
Yes, and just this is going to be no news to anyone here, but like to learn a language, your brain needs to make some work. So, unfortunately, you cannot just take a pill and learn another language. You need to make an effort. And sometimes, when that effort is done in a fun way or a way that where you meet people or you can explain, you can communicate, as David was saying, that makes your learning journey so more motivating and that helps you go through. Now, let's try to summarize what Perfectly Spoken has on their learning platform because there is a lot. So, David, yours.
Wow. We have, as you say, Shella, we have worked really hard and we carry on working. So we have a combination of self study. We've got over 2,500 lessons at all levels from A1 to C2 so that's right from elementary up to proficiency level, all different levels, structured courses, and then we've got specialist courses. We have courses on business English. Just go and have a look at the platform. There is so much there. And these are all supported by additional learning and practice activities. We also have quite a lot of live practice sessions with our teachers in different formats. So we have live classes, we have our conversation cafe, and we have speaking practice groups as well. So, hopefully there is something for everybody, whatever the learning needs are.
Yes, let me just expand a bit. When you access the Perfectly Spoken platform, the first thing you could do is take the test your English, because we know that most of you have had some English. This will give you an idea on where to start, but then it's up to you if you want to change course, if you want to do more than one course, or if you want to just go to a lower level or challenge yourself. So this is a very easy way to get started and just get a recommendation on where to start. As David was saying, all our video lessons are all in English. They have very different topics from general English. We have some courses that are essential grammar at different levels, vocabulary practice, courses on film English, on vocabulary, on pronunciation, all sort of courses. You can access all these lessons with our expert teachers. And just to make you feel a bit better, for A1 and A2, you will see that the teachers speak quite slowly, not too many words. The slides have lots of images, so you get into this immersive approach. A1 and A2 have also English captions, so you can activate the captions and read what the teacher is saying. That also helps your brain not only listen, but read and just be fully into that English mood. Live sessions. We have recently started the Conversation Cafe. Conversation Cafe is accessible to all users, and this is where you can meet other students from our global community. We have students from all around the world. There is a teacher that is moderating the session, and this is where you speak freely and just forget about the mistake. Just get there, try to communicate, and just meet other people and just get this enjoyment of just speaking in another language. The students are really nice. They help each other, so that is a very nice experience. David, you have been moderating some of these conversation cafe sessions.
It is. The Conversation Cafe is one of the nicest things that we do. It gives an opportunity for students from South America, from the Far East, from Europe, all meeting together in a global classroom, and they chat together, and that is very special.
Right. Time to just recap a bit the session. Right, as we said, this is a bit of a reward for all of you who have been here. We have a coupon. It is what many countries is back to school, but we believe we are adults, so probably it's better to call it our September offer. So you can have unlimited access to more than 2,000 video lessons, all levels, elementary to proficiency, all topics except for business English. If you need any help, you can write us to hello@perfectlyspoken.com. And our news flash series, which are short activities based on real news. On top of that, you have also unlimited access to live classes. Our live classes run on a schedule Monday to Friday afternoon in Europe and Saturday morning, where you can follow, review the lessons in the courses, or do vocabulary practice or grammar practice, even business English practice. And then you have unlimited access also to our Conversation Cafe. We have 4 sessions right now, but we aim to increase those. So all these, if you use the coupon SEPT23, you can have all these for $60 a year. So if you need any help getting started, just drop us a mail at hello@perfectlyspoken.com. We have many students from many countries, from many different backgrounds. So we know our method works, and many of our students speak wonders about Perfectly Spoken, and we are so grateful for that.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming today, and thank you for listening. If you want to write to me, if you have any questions directly to me, I am happy in your language, in my language, in any language, then write to david@perfectlyspoken.com, and I promise I will answer your question.
We hope this session was useful to all of you. Muchas gracias a todos los que nos habéis acompañado durante esta sesión. Cualquier pregunta que tengáis podéis escribir directamente a hello@perfectlyspoken.com o si queréis hablar con David, david@perfectlyspoken.com. Atenderemos a todas vuestras preguntas, sugerencias que podáis tener. Y si queréis tenéis alguna idea para sesiones en el futuro, nosotros tenemos también ideas, pero si tenéis ideas, nos encantará saber de vosotros.
Indeed.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure, as always, having all our community here, part of our community.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Adios.